perspective.
Times like the media is telling people that their property is worth more. So when I reach out to the sellers and I'm making lowball offers, because that's what I do, right? They're like, no, I think it's worth more. So back in 2019, it was not in the TV or anywhere else. They were not talking about real estate as much.
Hey there, I am Dr. Jason Ballara, and this is the Know Your Why podcast, where we explore the why behind success. Every week, I meet with real estate investors, veterinary entrepreneurs, mindset coaches, authors, and fitness professionals to uncover their why and how it drives them on the winding road to success. What is your why?
Hi everyone, I'm Jason Ballara, and this is the Know Your Why podcast. Today I'm here with Luis Melo, who is originally from Brazil and is a leading expert in vacant lots and a prominent realtor in California. Turns out we're not that far from each other. Luis, like I said, I like to let the guests tell their story. So first, let me just say thank you for coming on the show today. Appreciate you taking the time out and being here with me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Thanks for the introduction. Prominent real estate agent, I don't know about that. I think that's how my assistant did the bio, but I'm more like a land investor than anything else. I started as a land investor 5 years ago, and I also tried to be a realtor, but I guess with the competition, I was just like, I'm just another one in the industry. So I found my niche in vacant land, and I have been doing it for like 4 years full time. In the beginning, I was trying to be a server. I was a server. I was trying to be a realtor, an investor, and I did a couple of mistakes. I purchased a couple courses that led me to a lot of debt in the credit card, but I'm happy to where I am. And, I just flip vacant lots. Right now, I have 5 virtual assistants. One of them is in Miami. The other 4, they're back in the Philippines. I love them. They work very hard. I'm able to scale my business. I work with subdivisions as well, but my bread and butter, it's buying like vacant lots at low costs and then selling at close to market value. Jason.
Yeah, that's great. Tell me how you got into that. Like what I've talked a lot about on this podcast, people think of real estate investing. A lot of people have some vision of what that looks like. But what's been super cool for me in doing this podcast and meeting folks like yourself, everybody, it means something different to everybody. And in a lot of ways, that's because there's, 1,000 different ways to be successful in real estate. So how did you get started in the beginning and kind of why did you choose vacant land as your vehicle within real estate?
So I started going to these courses, and I did attend to Robert Kiyosaki's program, and they were teaching about seller finance, for sale by owner, foreclosure, all of that. And also, I was trying to be a realtor, but one guy in this event told me, "Hey, I'm flipping vacant land." I was like, "Really?" And he explained it to me. I'm like, "Wow, this sounds very fascinating." But I didn't have any more money for another course because it was another person teaching the vacant land. So what I did was I tried to use the Robert Kiyosaki's methods. I learned about mobile homes. I tried a little bit of everything. And, I called for sale by owners trying to list their properties and everything. But I started going to events in LA, and like real estate people would join, elderly investors. And one day, a guy was coming from Arizona to teach about flipping land. And these old investors that I had a relationship with, that I was meeting them every week for lunch. It's like a investors lunch, like 20, 25 people. They're like, "Luis, I see that you are a go-getter. You can go there and see if you like the vacant land. I think it's going to be a good thing for you." And again, that was the second time that land was introduced to me. So I just did. I purchased another course. I paid a couple more $1,000, and before the class on Sunday, I already read the whole book that the guy gave us, an ebook, and I was like, "Man, this is so awesome! I can flip vacant lots. I can make a lot of money." And after the class, I was like so hyper in the class, making notes. The next day I was already downloading areas in Florida and Arizona to send mail to. So I just thought it was a great opportunity and just started doing it. My first mail was like 1,100 or 1,400 letters. And I got like, out of 2 sellers, 21 contracts signed.
Wow.
I couldn't sell all of them because I
Yeah.
was locking some bad properties under contract. But I talked to about like 50 or 60 people. I got 80 calls back from like 1,100. It was 1,100 or 1,400, something like that. So I got a lot of calls back.
Yeah. That's a great response rate. I think I'm not sure like what the actual industry averages are for, cold calling or cold mailing, but that's for people listening, that's an excellent response rate.
Yeah.
Um,
That is back in, Jason, that's back in 2019.
yeah.
Right now, even with the land investing, the response rate is way less. But still,
Yeah.
let's say out of 1,400 letters that I sent out, I think at least 30 people will reach out. It depends on what type of letter I do send.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it just points to the fact that it's a numbers game, in the sense that, you need to have volume in terms of your outreach. And also, right now, transaction volume is down. So 2019, that same 1,400 letters results in 80 callbacks, and now it results in 30, and that's actually a pretty good indicator of kind of where we're at in the market. There's just a lot of people kind of holding on to see what happens. So that doesn't surprise me at all that would be, kind of a change that you see. And it's interesting to actually be able to put some objective numbers to it. So that's kind of a
At
cool
the same
perspective.
times, like the media is telling people that their property is worth more. So when I reach out to the sellers and I'm making lowball offers, because that's
Right.
what I do, right? They're like, no, I think it's worth more. So back in 2019, it was not in the TV or anywhere else. They were not talking about real estate as much. After
Yeah.
COVID, during COVID, it was like, prices so high.
Yeah. Yeah. There's certainly a lot of factors. And I think the media attention to, and it works both ways, right? The media attention, makes people think that maybe the values are higher, but also the media attention tells people that interest rates are up, and so you should be afraid of real estate right now. And it's just, there's different, it is what it is. And I think, if you're going to be a part of something like that, you've got to do your own due diligence and gain some education to actually understand whatever asset class you want to work within. So, but you said, I think you said Florida and Arizona as far as kind of the first places that you did that
Yes.
that outreach. How did you decide on markets? How do you select your markets?
Well, when I started, I didn't know. I just went to the county's website, a couple of data resources, and just downloaded vacant lots without knowing the demand. Right now, I do have a system that I put in place where most of the times it's just like I'm looking at demand and supply. How many properties are for sale, and the ones that are sold, how quick are they selling for, and what price point. So I know if I get a seller on the phone, I know how much to offer him. A couple of the things like jobs, what's happening in the city, what's going on, like growing jobs. But my main thing is demand.
Yeah. I mean, the supply and demand dynamics throughout. I mean, that's going to be the biggest driver of, real estate prices and, essentially ability to execute. If you've got huge demand, it makes it easier, and vice versa. So I think that makes a lot of
Makes it
sense.
harder for you. Sorry, if you have so this is how it works, right? In the beginning, I just went to counties where there was not enough demand because I was thinking inside my head, I want to be where there's no competition. But that's the wrong way of thinking. You want to go where there is competition. So once you have a property under contract, it's going to be harder for you to get that property under contract. But once you get it, you find a buyer next day.
Right.
You find a buyer very quickly. And what I do right now, I am texting people, I'm emailing, I'm doing ringless voicemail. that drops my price in advertising by a lot, because a letter is about 70 cents pop. Voicemail, it's like no more than 10 cents. I skip trace everyone. So in Florida, for example, Jason, I do not do letters anymore. Everything in Florida, it's only by email, texting, cold call, or ringless voicemail.
Yeah, and thankfully, I guess technology has made the ability to do sort of cold outreach a lot easier. Um, it you may need to increase your numbers. You may need to go out
Yeah,
to more people, but at the same
absolutely.
time, like the ability to do that is maybe made easier once you've put these systems in place. And you mentioned that demand piece when it comes to land flipping, and I would say that probably applies to virtually all real estate, right? If you want, especially flipping, whether it's land or houses, if you want to be able to exit effectively, which is essentially the end goal of almost all real estate investing, you want to know that the demand is going to be there to find an end buyer for your product, whatever it is, whether it's land or house, or whatever, something like that. Um, what's your strategy, Luis? Are you sort of just straight up trying to buy under market and then immediately turn around and sell it? I know you mentioned some piece of subdividing land. Kind of what is your focus right now?
So yeah, right away after I get a property under contract, I'm selling it. Usually my contract is 60 days. So I have an escrow period very long, because it allows me to advertise the property, a couple websites, Facebook, buyer's list, so I can get that buyer right away. I use friendly title companies in a lot of states, where I use the buyer's fund to pay the seller, and the remaining is mine, so I don't touch my money.
What I wanted to know is kind of, I know you're doing land flipping. You said you had about 60-day to close escrow, but my question before we sort of lost lost the ability to hear you was, what are you thinking, or are you doing any subdividing of this land? What's your strategy there, if any?
So yeah, the first one that I got in Colorado was just like texting people, and later on I was like, I could subdivide this lot, so I chose to. But I ended up buying the property for like, I would say 35% of the market value. So still a low, buying low and
Mhm.
selling high, right? But there's another subdivision that I'm working on. I just got the contract over the weekend, and it's 220 acres in Texas. That's like $1 million purchase, and we can subdivide that in a lot of parcels between 1 to like 10 acres. So that one I just started right now, and I love it. The subdivision is changing how I think about real estate and how I do my business. But the bread and butter comes from those cheaper lots, buy low. Let's say buy for $10,000, sell it for 22. Buy for 15, sell it for 28. Buy for 25, sell it for $40,000. So that's what I do all day long. And the subdivision takes a little bit more time, more cash from me, because I have to buy it, put it under my name, and then I have to subdivide, and then I put it for sale after. Or I can use investors, like the one in Texas I was telling you about. I'm gonna use someone else's money.
We were talking about land entitlement and how there's uh, different niches within this, and different people might be good at sort of each role. And so your tendency is then to kind of let whoever is purchasing that land, likely a developer, let them kind of take it from there. Is that what you were saying, Luis?
Yes, because I think that takes a little longer for you, right? The subdivision process that I'm doing usually minor subdivisions, or out of the city boundary. So it's way quicker. I just need a land surveyor, a couple other things, and it's up to the buyer to build whatever they want to build, and to talk to the city and make sure they can do whatever they want to do. Because I don't want to take on that time. Usually my regular flips, are like under 60 days, like
Hmm.
30, 35 days. And the subdivision, what I'm working on right now, is between 3 to 5 months. So if I were to add something on, like I work on entitlements, and it would add another 6 months to my hold cost, which I don't really like. When you do fix and flips, you got to hold that property for, let's say, 8 months. I prefer to just sell it quick and just get my money out of the deal and move on to the next one.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And you mentioned in your bio that you have some of these you've sold on seller finance, some of your um, land that you've purchased and then sold. So just again to point out sort of the power of different real estate strategies. Now you've gone from that quick transactional money to a longer term essentially recurring revenue type of situation that is passive. Would how do you like sort of to tie that all together for you for your strategy?
I love the seller finance because right now I don't need as much cash. I have cash in my account and I have other investors if I were to use them. So like 90% of my properties, I'm able to offer the seller finance. And for that 90%, 75% of their down payment is going to cover my whole investment.
Right.
So, for example, a property in Tennessee, I got it. I bought it for $10,000 using my money, but I already had a buyer for it, and the buyer was paying $27,000 total. He gave me $13,000 as a down payment, and then he paid me $1,000 a month. A couple more than $1,000 because there were interest in it, but that's how I like to do it. So right now I have accumulated about 22 notes myself, and usually 75% of those notes, I already got my money back for the whole investment because I'm buying it at such a low value of like 30, no more than 45% of the market value on those smaller lots, that I have the margin to just, pay me every month $300, 8% interest, 3 years, 2 years, 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really smart. You especially if you're able to get your money out, right? So now you essentially, it's a infinite return on investment if you're getting that initial cash in out, you know, right at day one. So, very, very, very smart strategy. And am I correct in saying that you're doing some coaching now, helping other people learn how to do the same thing?
I am, Jason. I'm working on something a little bit different now. I was doing one-on-one coaching, but I felt like that it was taking too much of my time.
Sure.
And I have so many deals going on right now that I cannot allow myself. So I'm creating something that's a course. The same thing I did, guys. The same
Mhm.
thing I did. I paid someone to teach me how to flip vacant land. I'm doing now, and I'm gonna sell it to people cheaper than what this person is doing. And again, my strategy now is totally different than what I started learning. I have my own contract. Everything I give it to the person, whoever becomes my student, they get access to all my documents, to my skip trace company, how I do my ringless voicemail, the software that I use. And, so by the end of the month, by the end of next month, I'm going to have that online course. And what I'm going to offer too, Jason, something that I'm creating, which is a class twice a month for all my students to come in and ask all kinds of questions between 2 hours every Wednesday, probably. And, they pay a membership monthly. I'm available 24/7, but it's just going to take a little bit less on me. And it's a good benefit to them because it's going to be way cheaper. Because my Leno one-on-one coaching was very expensive. I got two students, no, three students, and they paid me a lot of money. They're successful now, but at the beginning, they were taking so much of my time away that I felt like I'm doing a lot of deals, right? Between 7 to 9 deals a month. And I have 5 assistants, but at the same time, it takes a lot of my time. So I think once you have something online, you know, it's up to the person's best ability to follow, but I'm doing it. I'm a proof that I'm doing it. And once I started doing the land, my English was very poor. I'm from Brazil. I've been here for 7 years only, 7.5 years. And I think everyone can, and I'll give your audience like a very nice deal. As soon as I have it online, I'll give you like a code or something. It's going to be not that expensive, to be honest with you.
Great, great. No, we'll be on the lookout for that for sure.
And
Elise,
one more thing, Jason, I'm sorry,
sure.
I apologize. And why did I decide to do this? Every day I'm looking on Zillow, Redfin, Trulia. There's so many areas in the US where I could invest in land, but I'm just a one person show, right? Not just one person. I have more people with me, but it's just too many areas for me to do it myself, even with the current systems that I have. So I'm like, why not teach other people? And we're not going to overlap. If we are, we're offering lowball offers. We're just going to tell the sellers, hey, this is how much I can buy your property for. If another investor can buy it for full market value, good for them. But we're going to be in the same ball park, right? So that's how the strategy works because we have to make money.
Right.
So I just found that there are like too many areas out there. Every day I'm finding a new area, Jason, that I'm like, well, I should be investing there. I should be investing there,
Yeah.
but I just don't have the time. So I have an extra tab in my computer, and that is like new areas to invest. But it's huge. And I started going one by one. Every month I'm downloading another like 8,000 properties in like 2 or 3 different areas that I'm starting to invest in because I'm pretty much, I have very low risk, zero risk, because my contracts, if I don't end up selling the property to the next person, I can cancel, I can extend, I can lower the price, and I can do an assignment fee. So I am very comfortable. I have never lost money in my deals, and I pretend not to. Someone told me once that like every deal that I go and I offer money to the seller to buy their property, I'm thinking inside of my head that I'm broke. Because if I'm thinking that I have too much money, I'm going to offer more than what the property's worth. So I'm like, I'm broke. This is how much I'm going to offer you because I need to make money.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, you have to stick to the fundamentals, and especially on these types of transactions when the whole idea is to get it at well below market value, you have to stick to that strategy, even though you might actually be able to afford. A lot of times when you start doing it, you're like, well, I can't pay market value because I don't have that. But then as you become you have success and you're able to you could pay more, but then that just defeats the purpose of the whole strategy. So makes total sense. Luis, I'm going to switch gears. I want to ask you the questions I ask every guest. The first one is based on the name of the show being Know Your Why. So what is your why? What's driving you, pushing you for bigger and bigger success?
I guess, I always wanted to have money, always. But I never found something that would lead me to that way. So I think first thing is my why is that in my mentality, it was always like, hey, I wanted to have those things that I always dreamed of. The second one is the family. Um, and it's the second one because, before all of that, it was just me, you know, trying to have that ambition.
Yeah.
And that's the big why right now. It's that ambition inside of myself that was like, I want to be wealthy. I want to create the passive cash flow. And once I found real estate, a friend of mine told me about it. And first glimpse, it was just like becoming a realtor. And I was just like mesmerized because we don't have this opportunities in Brazil. So I was just like, whoa, this is amazing what I can do. And the second of all, now is like thinking of it like, can I retire my wife from her corporate job? Can I help my son once he's older and he has all this income coming from properties that I built, all these systems that maybe he wants to work for me. So I think that's the biggest why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So two big whys.
Yeah. I think, and it's a good point in the sense that, certainly my family is my why, but like also like I am driven to be successful and have opportunities, and like just creation of something big is kind of a driver as well. So completely understand.
And once you
Te-
like kind of look at what you have built, you're gonna be like, it's not just about the money. Look at what I have.
yeah,
The money is just something that comes as a form of trade, right? It's
right.
trading for my services. I'm like, I really did well because I helped this many people. There's a lot of times where the sellers, they come up to me and they're like, I don't know how to fix my title. And I come along, I hire CPAs, I hire realtors, not realtors, sorry. I hire probate lawyers, I hire other lawyers to fix the title, and then I purchase the property from them because they don't have the means to pay to fix the title or the knowledge. So I'm able to help a lot of people. And when I'm selling that property to someone else, I'm helping the buyer by selling the property at a lower value because I don't do 100% of the market value. I want to move it quick, right? Or I do a seller finance and the people are paying me monthly and they're like, they have something that it will be in their family.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's certainly bigger than yourself, bigger than just money. It's money's the vehicle, but it's definitely representative of um, creating creating wins all around. Um, Tell us something about yourself that isn't common knowledge, special skill, a hobby, anything that you're comfortable sharing.
Um, I'm not very detail oriented. I might look like, but I'm not. I'm just that guy that does things too fast sometimes. I'm super fast in the computer, super fast in analyzing data, but I'm not checking every single detail. Sometimes that can come after me, but most of the times I'm just like, because I'm going so fast, I'm doing so many deals, I'm like, I rather do that because there's always someone else that can see the detail for you and let you know. There's
Right.
title companies, escrow officers, there's my employees. They can help me. I think the best detail for me that I do very well is making comparables.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that might actually be the most important detail when it comes to real estate is what's going to drive that market around your property. But I think that's a common theme in visionaries. Like you have the idea of you can see what you almost see the end result in your mind, but getting there, you put integrators around you and build a team that helps. They'll check the details for you. So it's I can completely relate to that. When people hear this and they want to reach out to you, what's the best way, Luis?
I think right now it's my Instagram, uh, Luis Land Coach. That's the one that I focus most of my time.
Okay.
And, luislandcoach@gmail.com or my phone number, 818-806-9474. So just send me a message, a quick email. I reply very fast. And again, I built a system for vacant land, how to flip vacant land. Now I'm doing a system on how to teach people how to flip vacant land. So just have some patience with me, you know, and I will give you the best, um, you know, the value for your money. I'm gonna offer everything that I know it's available. I
Got
don't
it.
believe in holding anything back because you're kind of paying me for the service. Not going to be paying a lot of money, but I believe that there is enough competition for all of us in the land industry.
No, it's great. We'll have to people have to check out your course. I think it'll be really valuable for folks that want to get in that space. So, Luis, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Sorry about some of those technical issues, but we managed to get through it, and I definitely do appreciate your time. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Thanks for having me. We don't know too much about each other, but hopefully that will change. You're next to me,
Yeah,
and
yeah. Turns out we're very close together.
yeah. And this whole real estate, it's about getting yourself out there, making tons of offers, getting rejected, but just be consistent because the next deal might be the one.
Yeah, absolutely true. Well, folks listening, I know you're going to love this episode. Please like, rate, and review the show so we can get more great guests like Luis. And thank you all for listening.
Hey there, I am Dr. Jason Ballara, and this is the Know Your Why podcast, where we explore the why behind success. Every week, I meet with real estate investors, veterinary entrepreneurs, mindset coaches, authors, and fitness professionals to uncover their why and how it drives them on the winding road to success. What is your why?